Hello friends, this is lesson number 61 in the series of British literature in English. Today we shall discuss Robert Greene. In the last video we discussed Christopher Marlowe. In fact, there were several videos on Christopher Marlowe because he is a major playwright of the Elizabethan age. But as far as Robert Greene is concerned, he is not that great among the Elizabethan writers. But he is still famous. Why? Because he is among the prominent university wits. What is university wits? Several times I have talked about them that there were the people who were university scholar. They studied in university, prominently Cambridge and Oxford. And there were 6 university wits. One of them we have discussed, that is Christopher Marlowe, and the 2 other from the University of Cambridge we have Thomas Nash and Robert Greene. The easiest way to remember their name as the university wits from the University of Cambridge, I quickly just recite their names like Marlowe, Nash, Greene. They are from the University of Cambridge. Marlowe, Nash, Greene. And from the University of Oxford we have the name like Lily Lodge Peel. Lily Lodge Peel. Lily stands for John Lily, Lodge stands for Thomas Lodge, and Peel stands for George Peel. Anyway, so we have a university scholar, a university wits, that is Robert Greene. And about his plays, first thing we should understand that among most of his plays. Now, about his writing, one thing we should understand that he was always criticizing William Shakespeare. Now, where do we see William Shakespeare among these 6 names? In the history, we see William Shakespeare as a literary giant, but these 6 names, okay, Marlowe, Christopher Marlowe, he is quite famous, but not the others. They were the university scholars. And on the other hand, we have William Shakespeare. He was never a student of any university at all. And that is why these people like Robert Greene, they were charging William Shakespeare for making the copy or making some sort of, you can say, taking content from their works. So he was somewhere copying or taking the content from the other playwrights, from these university wits. We shall see several of these examples, but for now you can just take one simple point in your mind that there was some sort of a dispute, some sort of you can say literary war between Robert Greene and William Shakespeare. They were criticizing, especially Robert Greene was criticizing William Shakespeare. Not just this, even Robert Greene used to have critical comments on several of his contemporaries. And we shall take now. So now we shall take a few of his works. So first, he is a major playwright, or he is famous for playwriting. The first work, that is Pandosto. It is a pastoral work, Pandosto, published in the year 1588. And this work served the source for the play written by Shakespeare, that is Winter's Tale. So now you see, Shakespeare is taking the source for his play, that is Winter's Tale, from Pandosto. So the charge that Robert Greene is laying against William Shakespeare, that is quite obvious here, because he is taking the source for his plays from the works of these contemporary writers. The second play, that is Greene Grot Worth of Witty, bought with a million of repentance. So it is by the name of the writer, or simply we can take this work as Grot's Worth of Wit or Witty, bought with a million of repentance. There might be several changes in the spellings. As you see, wit or witty, Sometimes they are written in old type of English, so there may be several changes in the title of the work you might see on different sources. So this work is written by Robert Greene, and sometime the name of the author is also included in the title, like Greene's Groats Worth of Witty Bought with a Million of Repentance. This work was published in the year 1592. And in fact, this was a pamphlet. Pamphlet is not a long work. It is something like, this is in fact a pamphlet. And what is pamphlet? Pamphlet is something like a brochure as you see these days. It is something like 6 to 48 pages. Nothing less than 6 or 5 pages should be there. And in the olden times, these pamphlets were the source or the, you can say, type of short writing. What is pamphlet? Pamphlet could be a very small work in the range of 5 or 6 pages, and sometimes even go up to 40 or 48 pages. But it is a very small little work. Now, about this pamphlet. Sometimes you see the brochures of the companies or the universities. These are foldable ones, and 5-6 pages you could see. So these are also a type of pamphlet. These days what we see just a single page pamphlet, but earlier they were in the range of 6 to 10 or 12 or sometimes even 40-50 pages. Anyway, now we have the work that is Greene Groats Worth of Witty Bought with a. Anyway, this work is a pamphlet, and in this work Robert Greene, he has criticized William Shakespeare for copying their content, and he called him as an upstart crow beautified with our feathers. An upstart crow, the crow who is just starting, and he has beautified himself with their feathers, the feathers of the people like Robert Greene, Nash, or other university scholars. So he is charging William Shakespeare for copying their work. And in that time, if you see in the 1580s, 85s, or this work is published in fact in the year 1590. So in the 90s, that time William Shakespeare wasn't that successful or not that famous. He was just beginning in his career. So that time Robert Greene was criticizing him and called him as an upstart crow. And one simple charge you can just sum up as he was not writing anything original. And you see, this is quite natural if you have someone like a university scholar and he is saying that the common man who is not a literary person and he is writing well or he is getting name and fame, then obviously you will feel jealousy. And if you have any sort of a hint that he is taking content from your work, then obviously you will charge him. So that sort of a feeling Robert Greene was having for Shakespeare. And further, he termed him as Jack of all trades. You might have heard this idiom, Jack of all trades, means the person who knows everything about everything, means about every profession. If someone knows a bit of everything, then we can call him as if someone knows about everything a bit, then you can call him as a jack of all trades. He's master of none. The complete idiom could be like jack of all trades, master of none. So that sort of criticism he was passing on William Shakespeare. One instance we can take that in this pamphlet, Groats Worth, in this, the full title you already know, Groats Worth of Wit, in that there is a line, tiger's heart wrapped in a player's hide. Tiger's heart wrapped in a player's hide, And the similar line is used by William Shakespeare in his play, that is Henry VI, Part 3, where he said, "O tiger's heart wrapped in a woman's hide." O tiger's heart wrapped in a woman's hide. So you see, he was copying the content from the other writers. So this was a charge against him. And on the other hand, now we see that William Shakespeare, he created a character. The name is Falstaff. Falstaff. So this is a famous comic character in his plays, and this character is modeled on Robert Greene. So somehow you can see that William Shakespeare was also mocking or creating fun of Robert Greene through the character of Falstaff. He is a heavyweight, or somewhat, in fact not just somewhat, a very fat person, a comic character in his plays. So we shall consider when his important plays, then you will find this character, Falstaff. Now, the next work by Robert Greene is The Honourable History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay. This play is called as a first romantic comedy in English literature. And after this play we see Shakespeare writing Midsummer Night's Dream and As You Like It. So these were dramatic comedies. First there was this comedy, The Honourable History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay, and then we see William Shakespeare's comedies like Midsummer Night's Dream and As You Like It. And the source for this comedy is taken from the history of Friar Bacon, which was written in the 16th century, and it was a prose romance. And the central character is actually a character from the 13th century, and that is a well-read man, and the name is Roger Bacon. He is popular as a magician as well. So remember, Friar Bacon, the title is based on the man of 13th century, that is Roger Bacon, and the source for this work is taken from the work that is written in the 16th century, that is History of Friar Bacon, famous History of Friar Bacon. So these were the important plays written by Robert Greene. Some of the other plays I have just named them, and these are on your screen as well. These are minor plays. So just remember one thing, that we are considering playwrights. So these were the major plays by Robert Greene, and we have several minor plays by him as well. Just remember, Robert Greene is a major, or he is famous only for writing plays. So we are taking him as a playwright, and the minor plays are written there on the screen as well. The History of Orlando Furioso, A Looking Glass for London and England, The Scottish History of James IV, The Comical History of Alphonsus and Selimus. And there is one more verse, a drama in the form of verse, and that is A Maiden's Dream. So that's all we have for Robert Greene. Just remember, he is famous for being a university wits, and among the university wits, and then we have the important works by him. And remember, he was always criticizing or charging William Shakespeare for copying their content, and then he was calling him as an upstart crow, or the jack of all trades. And William Shakespeare created a famous character based on him, that is Falstaff. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson we shall consider another university wits, that is Thomas Nash. Thanks a lot for watching this lesson, and have a great day.